Hi everyone, I hope you're doing great. In today's video I've got a tour of the new house. If you're new to the channel, hello, my name's Laura. On this channel I basically do lots of property renovations and DIY projects. I'm just in the process of purchasing my next renovation property. So today I'm going to be showing you around the property so that you can see what it looks like before the renovations begin, and then I'll be documenting the progress as I go along. I absolutely love doing anything to do with property. I'm an avid DIYer. I do pretty much everything myself. I can do plumbing, basic electrics, joinery, you name it, I will give it a go. So I will be doing the majority of the work on this myself. So if you enjoy watching that kind of thing, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell as well so that you get notified when I post my videos. Before I get into actually showing you around the property, let me just give you a little bit of background about it. So if you've been watching my house moving vlog, you'll understand how I'm in the process of buying this. The property at the moment actually belongs to my mum. She bought this 15 years ago, and it was actually the first house that my daughter and I lived in went just after she was born. So she bought it for us to live in. We stayed there for a couple of years and then I moved on into another rented property. So since then there's been numerous tenants that have been in there. There's not been a massive amount of money spent on it. There has been a rewire, there's been a new boiler, decorating in between tenants, new flooring and things like that, but nothing major really has been done to the house. The house does need bringing up to date. It wasn't really where I wanted to buy, but my mum's mortgage was due to mature next year and she needed to sell it. I'm not happy with the house prices at the moment. I think that they are a little bit too high. So I wasn't actually seeing anything else that I was interested in. So in the interim, I was actually going to live in the property until my mum sold it. But my property sale is taking so long to go through, it just made more sense for me to buy the house off my mum. So we did actually start doing a little bit of work. The previous tenant had left the house in an absolute state, so the way that you're going to see it is actually a big improvement on how it was beforehand. We had been around and done a little bit of painting. We were just going to give it a little bit of a tart up before it went on the market, but not do anything too major with it really. So let's get straight into it. I'll show you around the house and explain what my plans are as we're going through. It's a 2-bedroom terraced in Greater Manchester. The area is not fantastic, it's not bad. There don't generally tend to be a lot of properties that do go up for sale in the area. It's got quite a small living room at the front of the property, and then a really big dining kitchen to the back, and then a small rear yard. I say small, it's actually bigger than the yard that's in this house at the moment, so I'll be able to make that look really nice, and it's some outside space as well. So there's 2 bedrooms, one's a really good size, and the second bedroom you could actually class as a double bedroom. So let's get straight into it. I'll show you around the house and explain what my plans are as we're going through. So here is the living room. It's not the biggest of rooms at all. I think I wouldn't really struggle trying to position my furniture in here, but I'll have to try and work something out. There's an issue with this floor here. Basically the joist underneath the door has got damp and it's rotting, so that's going to need to be replaced. So all of the floor is going to have to come up. The whole of this room is going to get redecorated. All of this wallpaper is going to come off. I realised that the person that did the decorating the last time papered over some old paper, so all of this, probably including the ceiling as well, is going to be removed and replastered. Ideally I would like to take the chimney breast out, but I think it's just a little bit too much work for such a short period of time, and it's not really going to add any value to the house. Then from the living room you go through this door into the inner hallway with stairs up to the first floor. There's then a door that leads through to the kitchen. So I've started doing a little bit in here, but I'll just insert a clip showing you what it looked like before we had actually started. The kitchen had been damaged a little bit and the worktops need replacing in here. The walls are in really bad condition, they all need repainting. There's a door down there through to the cellar. The kitchen's actually a really good size. There's some damp here on this wall, so the plaster's going to have to come off, probably be damp proofed and replastered, and door through to the yard out the back. You'll see I have started work on here already. Everything's been given a lick of white paint just to freshen it up a little bit. The kitchen doors have been wrapped, new worktop, an oven housing's been fitted, so that's all built in rather than a freestanding oven. I'm going to add in some pelmets onto the cupboard as well, just to make them a little bit more modern, and I'm possibly going to retile in here as well. New sink's been fitted, and I'm going to try and salvage the floor because it's actually not in that bad a condition. So the door to the cellar is going to be flipped the other way around, because where that door's standing at the moment I'm going to have my American fridge freezer. The door needs to be flipped because the way that it was opening, it would have banged into the fridge and I wouldn't have actually been able to get into the cellar. This had a panel on it, so I wanted to try and keep some original features of the house, so that's going to be sanded down and painted. At the top of the cellar steps there's all of this shelving, so that's going to provide loads of storage space. So all of this needs to be sanded down, painted, cleaned up a little bit, and it'll work well for storage of kitchen bits and even as a little bit of a pantry. So I'm really looking forward to doing this part. It goes all the way up to the top of the stairs, and there's a light in there as well so I can see what I'm doing. So then the steps go down into the cellar. This is only part of the underneath of the property, so there's extra storage under here. It is a little bit damp. All of these old terraced houses used to have a coal scuttle, so you can see that there's some water coming in here, and that's probably why this joist has got damp. So that's the one that needs replacing underneath the front door. There was a beam, I think it was made out of brick, that was here, which has come down. It's not actually providing any support, but all of this needs to be bricked up properly. So I'm going to get someone else to come in and do that, I think, just so that I know that there's not water going to be gathering behind it. So as you can see, there is quite a bit of water coming in. When it rains, it does get quite wet down here. So I'm not going to bother painting down in this section. There's not really much point. It is going to be just used for storage. I've got some old pieces of worktop on these brick sets here, just so that I can store stuff off the floor, and I'll use some of my shelving that I've got in the shed to keep down here. This is the view from the bottom of the steps, so I'm going to paint up to the bottom of the stairs and probably paint the steps as well, just so that when I'm going up and down I'm not carrying bits of dust into the kitchen, just to keep them cleaner. Going up the stairs, there's all of this textured wallpaper. It's in pretty much every room of the house apart from the bathroom and the kitchen. So I want to get all of this pulled off because it has been up since before my mum bought the property. We've always just painted over it, so there are places where it's coming loose. I hate textured wallpaper, it's a nightmare to paint, so I'm just going to have to bite the bullet, strip all of this off and get all of this plastered. So to the front is the master bedroom. It's not a bad size. It's not as big as the room that I've got at the current house, but it's still a good size all of the same. Textured wallpaper in here again, so that's going to get ripped off. Probably going to need full replaster, and so full decorate and new carpets in here. Then through to the second bedroom, which is at the back of the property. Now for a second room in a terraced house, this is actually a really good size. This would be classed as a double bedroom. It's again got the textured wallpaper in here, but to be honest I'm probably going to leave this as it is, with the exception of doing the carpet. Alicia's room usually gets done first when we move into a house, and then by the time I come to sell it, it always needs decorating again or carpets cleaning, etc., because she doesn't look after it. So if I'm going to do it at all, it will get done last in this instance, just to save me a little bit of time and money. The storage in this room is great. So there's this little cupboard that can be used as a walk-in wardrobe. So there's this hatch that needs covering up. I need to tart it up a little bit in here, just give everything a good lick of paint, sort out the shelving. I might get some new hooks, clean up the rails. So she's got plenty of space in here for her clothes and some other boxes and storage. There's then this other cupboard which has currently got the boiler in it. The boiler was installed about 5 years ago, so I shouldn't need to worry about that. And then there's another cupboard above this one which used to have the old water storage tank in it. So I'm going to paint everything up in here, maybe add in a little bit of shelving or some hooks, and there should be no excuse for a messy bedroom. So onto the bathroom. This was looking a lot worse than it does at the moment. I'd painted the tiles in here years ago, and as you can see, they'd all yellowed. So the original idea in here was to just freshen it up a little bit. Obviously put the bath panel back on and just leave it as it is. But seeing as I want to make a little bit of money, I'm going to be ripping this bathroom out and reconfiguring it. The current position of the bath with the window above it obviously means that a shower can't be placed over, so I'm going to switch the bath so that it goes right underneath the back wall, and then the shower can go on the side wall above it. The toilet's going to go here, and then I'm going to build a vanity unit for the sink. So with the reconfiguration of the bathroom, obviously having a new suite in should really bump up the value of the property. Out the back there's a small yard. This needs a really good clean up and a repaint, and I'll get some plants out here in the spring, and then by the time summer comes around it'll be looking awesome. So I'm a little bit concerned with the way that the market is at the moment. Property prices are really high. I don't expect that they will stay that way for much longer. Obviously everything that's going on with the pandemic at the moment and the economy, it does make me think that next year the property prices are going to come down. So that was another reason why really I was being a little bit cautious about what I wanted to buy. My plan is that I only want to stay here for about 6 months. It's not a long-term property. It's smaller than what I want to be living in. So it is just an interim 6, 7, maybe 8 months that we will be living there, and then we will be selling it on and moving somewhere else. And that should tie in quite nicely with when my daughter finishes high school. It then means that I can widen my search area in terms of where I'm going to buy, because I won't be restricted with having to keep her in school or being within travelling distance to a school. So come next year, I'm hoping to get the property finished and on the market in May. In terms of the budget, as I'm going to be doing a lot of the work myself, this isn't going to cost me as much as it would the average person. If you were doing a renovation and obviously getting in contractors to do the work for you, you would need to be spending a lot more than what I'm planning to spend on this. I'm going to be fitting the bathroom myself. I've done work on the kitchen myself already. I am quite capable of doing a lot of the things that are needed to be done on the property. I can always give other things a go, and if they don't work out, then I'll get a contractor in to fix anything that I can't do myself. So basically, in terms of the works that are needed, we've got the rotten floor joist that obviously needs replacing, fixing the floor above that as well. Damp that needs sorting out in the kitchen. The kitchen, I'm still not 100% decided on what more I'm going to do with that. Once I've got it tidied up a little bit, I'll see where I'm at with things. New bathroom's going in. I've already started work on that already. I'm very lucky if once I strip all of that wallpaper off that the walls don't need plastering, so I'm taking into account that they probably will. I will have to get a plasterer in. One thing that I do want to do is actually go on a plastering course, because that is one of the most expensive things that tends to need sorting out in a property that you're renovating. So that's on my to-do list for next year, definitely, to go on a plastering course. It's going to be all of the decorating, new carpets, and just bringing it up to standard, making it look like a really nice property. To spend in the region of £3,500. I am always very careful with how much I spend on a property, and even more so with this one, because I don't know what's going to happen with the market next year. I obviously don't want to lose money on it, so I need to keep costs down where possible. But I am hoping, even sort of like worst case scenario, that I will still come out with around £10,000 profit on this particular property. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that one. But in terms of sort of like 6 months, 10 grand. It's not to be sniffed at really, and it's something that I enjoy doing, which is an absolute bonus. So if you want to see what I get up to in the house, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the bell. You'll then get notified every time I upload a video. I'm going to be doing a vlog series of the renovation on this property, as well as full videos on each of the rooms once they are completed. Follow me over on Instagram too. I do post a lot of what I'm doing over there on my stories. You'll be able to see what I'm getting up to in between videos. So thank you very much for watching, guys. You take care of yourself, and I will hopefully see you again soon.